Hey, what's up, you guys? This is John Chacon with Awesome Performance Fitness, coming at you today with another segment of the Coach's Corner. Today, we're going to come at you guys with another double kettlebell movement. This is a movement I don't see talked about a lot. In fact, it can tend to be an intimidating movement. One, because it involves two kettlebells, and three, because it involves those kettlebells moving a very long distance in a very short amount of time and ending up above your head, where most people tend to feel uncomfortable. But I'm going to go over it with you guys today, and that is the double kettlebell snatch. Going from the hip position to all the way overhead, extended with both kettlebells at the same time. I'm going to give you guys a quick down and dirty intro and also kind of a tutorial on how to do it, give you the basic steps, and hopefully give you guys some confidence towards getting to this movement. Now, a couple things you can do to build yourself up to double kettlebell snatch. Number one, start working with double kettlebells at movements that are a little less intense. Now, not saying that these movements aren't intense, period, they are, but they're a little less than the snatch themselves. You work on double kettlebell swings, double kettlebell cleans, and then double kettlebell overhead movements, presses, push presses, jerks, and the like. You can even work on clean and presses, clean and push presses, or you can do cleans from the floor. Whatever it may be, work with your double kettlebells a lot. Kettlebells are a great tool. They're very dynamic, very versatile. They're not the only tool I use, but when I use them, they are fun. Now, the double kettlebell snatch, the dynamic's going to be a little bit different than the single arm overhead snatch. Obviously, because there's two of them, but there's a lot more involved, slightly different stance, and you have to take a lot more precaution and awareness getting into the setup for this movement. So I'm going to show you guys what our kettlebells look like as I look at them and I'm set up. These kettlebells are in this V position, as you can see, and they're facing me. And I put them that way because I'm going to be setting them up. I'm going to have my knuckles pointing each other, and then I'm going to show you guys the steps from there. I'll show you guys from the front, from the side, and then also from the front how the snatch is supposed to look. Now, when that kettlebell moves, when those kettlebells move from the ground, I'm going to begin from the ground. I'm going to be using that hip hinge pattern that we use for our deadlifts, for all of our kettlebell movements, kettlebell swings, kettlebell cleans, whatever you might do that incorporates that hip hinge motion. We're going to be doing the same thing because our hips are going to be providing the force that we use for this motion. Yes, there's going to be some upper back, some shoulders, and some arms involved in this, but for the most part, if you don't gain the momentum and that explosiveness from your hips, you're not going to be able to get these suckers overhead. So I recommend starting with a lighter weight. Okay, so when I set myself up, I already have those kettlebells in that V position so that my knuckles can be facing each other. This allows me to pull my shoulder blades in nice and tight, allows me to suck my upper arms in tight to my rib cage so that I become a single unit. Okay, I'm going to start off with my stance about 1.5 feet distance behind these kettlebells. My feet are wide enough to clear them, plus about 3 or 4 inches on each side. So from the front, my stance is about this wide. Okay, so after I establish that 1.5 feet distance, my toes are pointed straight ahead, my heels are down. First thing I'm going to do before I grab those kettlebells with my hands, I'm going to spread the floor with my feet, I'm going to drive my knees out and my butt back. Maintaining a nice neutral spine, I'm going to reach down, grab the center of those handles, wrap my thumb and fingers around, tilt the kettlebells back, lock my shoulder blades in place. From here, I'm going to take in my belly breath, establish that brace at my core. From here, I'm going to swing them back behind my hips, explode forward with the hips, shrugging my shoulders and catching these kettlebells overhead. When you come overhead, make sure you punch the ceiling with both arms. The arms are fully extended, shoulder blades are back. Now you have two ways of coming back down. You can either, one, come down to the rack position and then reset, or you can come from the fully overhead position using a corkscrew type method. Now from the front, I'll try to slow it down a little bit. Rotate them in, driving forward. The important thing, when I come over, notice those kettlebells are coming in front of my body as I push them up and as I let them come down. In other words, I'll show you what not to do. You want to avoid having those kettlebells come out in front of you. Even though you're producing momentum from the rear in a horizontal direction, you do not want those kettlebells to be guided way out in front of you, so it makes this huge half moon type arch that comes up and over, because what's going to happen is that momentum is going to carry those kettlebells up and over and far beyond where you want them to go. Instead, after you swing them back, Coming to the front, you're going to extend your hips, shrug your shoulders, and you're going to guide those kettlebells up in front of your body and catch. It's not going to be the same way that you would perform a dumbbell snatch or a barbell snatch, where it's more of an up and down motion, or excuse me, that's a clean up and down motion, coming up and through. It's going to be from the back, guiding it forward and all the way overhead. So, I'm going to show you guys from the front. Note that I'm keeping it close. I'm shrugging my shoulders, my hands are guiding. When I come down, I'm allowing my hands to go from that overhead position, and they're actually doing what I call a corkscrew, where they're pulling through and allows the kettlebell handle itself to wrap around and roll off of my wrist, if you will, instead of just flipping back over. So from the front, set myself up again with that V pattern, about 1.5 foot distance behind, feet just outside the kettlebells, toes straight ahead, heels down. Spread the floor with the feet, driving the knees out, butt back. From here, with that neutral spine, reach out, grab the center of the handles, wrap securely, tilt it back. Secure those shoulder blades. Taking your belly breath, swing behind the hips, explode forward, and overhead. Same thing, coming down, and again from the side. Explode forward, squeeze the glutes, and extend those arms overhead until you're done. As far as repetitions go, you can go pretty crazy with kettlebells. I've seen people doing sets of 10, sets of 12, sets of 15, 20. But if you're getting the movement down, guys, I recommend sitting anywhere between sets of 3 or sets of 6. Anywhere in there is just fine, especially if you're using a weight that is borderline challenging or getting to the point where it's getting pretty difficult to use. Start light, some double 18s, double 26s. These are double 35s. Start working your way up. Get the pattern down. Make sure that you don't start going from a down to an up. Let your hips hinge. Let those kettlebells come back behind you. Keep your arms in tight as opposed to letting them swing down. Explode forward, shrug, and catch. Okay, there's not going to be a dip underneath it like you would for a barbell snatch or a dumbbell snatch. You're going to catch it in that fully extended hip and knee position with those arms overhead. Okay? As I told you guys, this is going to be nice and quick. It is something that I encourage you guys to give a shot. Do not be afraid of this movement, but I do recommend working on double kettlebell swings, double kettlebell cleans, double kettlebell presses, push presses, and jerks, and then combinations of those movements so you get very comfortable, very familiar with your hip, foot, and knee positions, as well as your upper back, and allowing those shoulders to become comfortable in that double overhead position. Then, start incorporating the snatch. It's a great, explosive, full body movement. Incorporates those hips that everybody loves so much. And you also get a lot of work done in a very little amount of time. And I know we all are short on time. And yet we all have the same 24 hours. Funny how that works. But that's all I got for you guys. This has been John Chacon with Awesome Performance Fitness. Another segment of the Coach's Corner, talking about the double kettlebell snatch. Talk to you guys soon. Take care. Stronger every day. Peace.